recording too frequently. Please try. Oh, there we go.
Wow. StreamYard telling me to give it a rest.
Yeah, too many podcasts.
And I fucking enough already. It's August. StreamYard just crying out in pain. Please stop.
Yeah. There's nothing to talk about. Your whole rundown is stuff from the last episode.
It's August, and then there's another August after August.
Yep. And then there's a half of August after that August, you know? Yeah. By the way, CJ is off today. Our new guy, Andrew Kaplan, who produces some of the YouTube videos, the non-episode YouTube videos, is producing, but he is not visible right now. Do you want to let the filter in people see you, Cap? At least for a moment?
Yeah.
There he is.
Here I am.
There he is. That's the guy trying to Wally Pip CJ.
Wow.
Wait till you see how well produced this episode's going to be on YouTube.
It's going to be a disaster.
Yeah.
Where are you located right now, Cap?
Right now I'm in Albany, but I live in Brooklyn.
Okay.
Normally.
Cap's desk was, what'd you say, 15 feet from mine? 17 feet? Something like that?
Yep.
In the corner over at FAN and CBS Sports Radio or Infinity Sports Network.
If you could, did you have eyesight on him? Could you have hit him with a well-placed
many walls?
Sort of, something you could just toss.
Right? No, so
hit him on the side of the head.
No, unfortunately, the setup in that office is actually dreadful in that it's not very open. It's just like walls and doors around everything. So my office was on the end. I couldn't even see to the hallway from my office based on where my desk is. So those guys, I had to walk out to see if they were there. I could yell for you. I couldn't.
Sort of trick shot.
Yeah.
Trick shot, bang shot.
Yes.
To hit Spike in the side of the head with an office ball.
And for Ricky listeners to know, Cap actually did all of the. Do you do the last two live Rickies or just the last one? The stuff on the screen.
I think just the last one.
Yeah, live Ricky 5. All that stuff on the screen behind us was Cap.
Very cool.
All right. Oh wait, hold on. I gotta get my prep sheet. There he goes. Well, already better than CJ. I don't know what to say.
Wow.
Yeah, just kidding. Love you, CJ. Miss you. All right. The Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast is presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Sign up for DraftKings Sportsbook by using promo code RTRS. And brought to you by MortgageCS. Become a MortgageCS Ricky VIP at mortgagecs.com/Ricky. Kornblau and Kornblau, the official law firm of The Process. And Surfside Iced Tea and Vodka, the official sponsor of the Corner 3 newsletter with Zoe and me. Subscribe at rightstorickysanchez.com/newsletter. On the show today, boy, the offseason just fucking in full force. When you're doing a segment, which will probably be 11 minutes on deciding between Marcus Morris and Davis Bertans. That is an off-season pod. We'll bring back up because it seems like we're in or at least I am in a bit of a war with AU about Embiid in the Olympics as he's using his newsletter to argue with me. So we'll get to that. Also, very off-season but very necessary. Mike perhaps owes a referee an apology, which is we'll get to it. But we got to get to it. Hey, we have a new podcast, not a new Ricky, but a new, part of the Ricky network, as it were, is called the Draft Council. It is a 52-week per year draft podcast hosted by our own Dan Ollinger and Ahmed Jama. The first episode is available, which sort of goes over some of the highlights and lowlights of Summer League across the league. And I thought it was pretty interesting. Also did a segment on Jared McCain, who they give you some reasons not to worry, even though he had sort of a subpar summer league. Thought it was good. If you love basketball and love draft prospects, this is the pod for you. So search Draft Council on whatever podcast app or just go to draftcouncil.com and there will be a new episode out on Tuesday. A congrats to Merrill Reese, a longtime co-worker of mine, of course, and a legend who was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame last night in the broadcaster wing. Merrill is the best. I love Merrill to death, and I'm so glad he's able to. So many broadcasters aren't able to experience this while they're actually broadcasting, and the fact that he could was great, so congratulations to Merrill. Surfside, iced tea and vodka. This is the time. I mean, 52 weeks a year, the time, sort of like the draft council, it's the time. But the summer is Surfside time. Announcing new flavors. The raspberry tea is out there now. It is only 3 grams of sugar, only 100 calories, the perfect amount of sweetness. Just tastes great on a warm day. Any one of them. My favorite is just the lemonade and vodka, actually, and then lemonade, iced tea, and vodka. In any case, try it. Go to statesidevodka.com and you can order it right there, or just get it wherever you get your booze. And on a sad note, would like to wish our best to the family of Andy Jasner, who passed away suddenly this week. I think, I don't know exactly how old Andy was. I always got the sense he was probably 5 or 6 years older than me. Son of the great Phil Jasner. Andy, a great writer himself, and was, I know people say this all the time, but Andy Jasner was like the sweetest guy every time I ran to him ever. And the only time he ever reached out was to say something nice. And I know he had 3 daughters and, in his 50s, which is just absolutely tragic. So sending our love and prayers to the Jasner family. And he was a great guy and will be terribly missed. Without any further ado, Amos and the chef.
We were right, y'all. We were right. Even when it went wrong, we were right. We was right, y'all. We were right. So say the name. Say the name. We were right, y'all. We were right. Even when it went wrong, we were right. We were right, y'all. We were right. So say the name. Say the name. Say the name.
Welcome to the Rights Ricky Sanchez podcast. I'm Spike Eskin, along with a guy who is secretly trying to oust CJ and has started a have Cap replace CJ campaign that has won Mike Levin.
Love CJ. Would never do that. Would never do that to CJ, especially after last episode when he brought a big victorious lamp into frame so ceremoniously. No. I am out of town at a wedding. The wedding today will be 100 degrees and outside.
Well, dude, an outside August wedding. I mean,
something else.
They are asking for it, right?
I know.
Can you tell us what city you're in?
Just south between like LA and San Diego.
Oh yeah. Well, it's August.
It's gonna be hot. It's gonna be hot.
So fuck is this guy doing?
Make it out of that. It's I'm wearing a linen suit, but
okay. Hopefully that helps.
Know that the linen will save me because it still is clothes.
Yes. And even if you had no clothes on, just to be honest with you, it would still be hot.
That'd be quite hot, yeah. So we'll see.
Outside in August. God bless. Is it in the evening at least, or
if like the bus pickup is like, or the shuttle pickup is like 4:15.
Oh no, so, that's like the hottest time of the day.
Yeah.
Oh goodness gracious. Okay, well here we go. But this is both from iPhone alarm guy himself, Keith Pompey.
My dad's calling me during the podcast. He should know. He should be watching this right now.
Do you want to see? Do you want to see what's going on?
No, it's fine.
Okay. Is he going to the wedding too?
No.
Maybe we want to make sure he wasn't wearing the same linen suit.
Yeah, that'd be funny.
Yeah. So, both from Keith Pompey. Well, this one aggregated by Sixers Galaxy, who has me blocked. There's nothing you can do about it. I can see all your tweets.
Wow. It's always the same one. You're really coming after this guy.
Well, they're aggregating. Or guy or girl. We don't know. The Sixers are interested in signing Davis Bertans with their minimum contract per Pompey on Sixers. Quote, according to sources, 6'10 sharpshooter Davis Bertans is another player they're interested in signing. And then also from Keith Pompey, Marcus Morris would welcome a return to his hometown Sixers. So both, it seems like Marcus Morris would like to come back. Davis Bertans is out there. They, I would say, have similar skill sets, actually, on some level. It's just like Davis Bertans seems like he's kind of a loser to me, and Marcus Morris does not. So I would opt for Marcus Morris over Davis Bertans.
Marcus Morris wants to come back. Marcus Morris is like circling the building. He's just someone give him a code, let him enter the building. I don't disagree that Davis has some loser energy. He's seemingly like flamed out on a bunch of places.
Like he should be helpful to a team and somehow to a good team, and somehow he's never that guy. You know? Yeah.
That being said,
oh no,
I like the skill set, man. I like that he's 6'10", and he fucking flies around screens and can hit those. I mean, I don't know who I'm becoming, but like Bellinelli-esque, perpendicular to the ground type shots. I like the movement that he provides. He does nothing else. But Marcus Morris does a lot more like standing there and doing his like it's still 2012 stuff. And I think Nick Nurse would have a tougher time not playing Marcus Morris than he would not playing Davis Bertans.
Well, that's for sure true.
So I will take the Bertans, who is younger, who has more movement shooting, and is more of a loser. Just so Nick Nurse doesn't get too many ideas.
It's very game theory of you, and I appreciate it. I don't agree, but I understand the thinking. I absolutely understand the thinking.
He's just a high volume, really, really high volume 3-point shooter. And Morris was here for his time as well, but like Bertans can really get it off without any space whatsoever. And there's just too many like Marcus Morris post ups last season. I can't do that. I can't be watching like Maxey, Embiid, and Paul George on the court, and then it's like, well, let's all stand out of the way while Marcus Morris goes to work.
Let me offer a devil's advocate to that.
Please. Is
that when you really think about last year's team, it was really just a collection outside of Joel and Maxey. It was really just like a bunch of guys thrown together, and it's not like there was a particularly good third offensive option. Like I've just memory hold Tobias Harris, but it actually
I don't know him.
Yeah. So, I mean, I hear you. I don't get the sense he would do a ton of that in a crucial situation, though. That's all. He just feels like a good locker room guy, and people love him, and he loves to be here. He doesn't like, I don't know, the Davis Bertans loser energy is like feels like a giant cloud over him,
Yeah. I'm not disagreeing with that.
Okay.
But I guess I just like the idea of like really intense height, like tall movement shooting. He's 6'10", and he can get that shot off against anybody. And you
wonder why he's not awesome, you know?
You really do. You really do. He really doesn't do anything else.
No.
So is Marcus Morris a better basketball player? Yes. But as far as with the role that Bertans could play on this team, I like that a little bit more. And if he sucks, I do think he will be like swiftly benched and never listened to.
Yeah,
in a way that I think Marcus Morris will get time to like shoot himself out of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's for sure. Honestly, Davis Bertans feels like one of the guys that you bench just immediately if he does the wrong thing, and then he's on the bench for 6 straight games or something.
Totally fine.
Yeah. The Rice Ricky Sanchez podcast brought to you by MortgageCS. If you need a mortgage broker, you're buying a house, you're thinking about buying a house, or you want to refinance, by the way. I don't know why you'd be refinancing now, but if you were, MortgageCS is who you want. First of all, because we say so, but second of all, because they are independent and are going to be a great partner for you in buying a home. They're going to help you go find your mortgage. That's what a mortgage broker does. They don't give you the money. They go find the money for you from all the different lenders, but they're actually going to be your partner because there's a lot to figure out when you're buying a home. Also, you're getting in a time now where it's better for buyers coming up in the fall and winter than it is in the spring and summer. So they'll do a good job of sort of helping you understand your budget, the purchase prices that work, how to find money for a down payment, all that sort of stuff that you don't expect a mortgage broker to help you with, so you feel better about it. MortgageCS is going to help you. Also, it seems like in September, mortgage rates will start to come down a little bit, which will be good. And if you bought it them when they're at their peak and you want to refinance eventually, MortgageCS can be your partner in that. And also, no matter what you're looking at, in terms of house, whether it's a big house or a small house or whatever, refinancing, like I said, we have all different sorts of listeners. We have very, very rich Ricky listeners, and we have not so rich Ricky listeners, and MortgageCS treats everyone absolutely amazing. They're going to be there for you morning, noon, night, whenever you need them, so much so that I am allowed to give out Ben, the CEO's cell phone number. Right now, text him 267-391-7425. Text him, ask him if he is Team Cap or Team CJ. Would love to know what Ben thinks of that. 267-391-7425. Be there for you tonight. You need a pre-qualification letter, advice, be there for you early in the morning, on the weekends, whenever you need MortgageCS, they will be there for you. Go to mortgagecs.com/Ricky, schedule a consultation, or like I said, just call or text Ben, get the Ricky VIP treatment, 267-391-7425. You don't want to believe me? That's fine. I get it. Go to Google, see all the great reviews. You're going to see the same thing over and over and over again, how great MortgageCS is. Love those guys. Love Alec. Love Ben. Love their team. Trust them. And I trust them enough to send you to them. This advertisement, not a commitment to lend or extend credit. MortgageCS is an equal housing opportunity mortgage broker. All loans are subject to credit approval. Certain restrictions may apply. Company NMLS 1464766. Visit mortgagecs.com/Ricky for more information. I just want to slide this in there because I made a offhand comment in the last pod with a smirk when we were talking about where players should live, and got a couple of emails about it, and I figured we hadn't addressed it at all, so I might as well bring it up. There was a rumor recently, or reporting recently, that the Sixers were willing to talk to New Jersey and Governor Phil Murphy about putting their arena there if they didn't get what they wanted out of Philadelphia. I think overall, it is an annoying topic, and it's going to be what it is. And both sides are, meaning the Comcast Spectacor side and the Sixer side, are just busy being in spin zone, and I don't just not interested in being. The more we talk about it, the more both places are going to reach out to us and give us what the real truth is and expect that we're going to say it, and I just don't fucking want to do it. So that's why we're not doing it. It's just and it's going to be what it is no matter what we say or what we do. So that's why I think generally, I think you would agree with that part of it, right? I mean, I just don't want to be involved in the discussion of it overall.
Yeah, I tend to just distrust both of them, and also distrust myself to have a fully informed opinion about this.
Yes. So what I will do is give just a quick rundown of what I think, so you can have it and put it in a little bow and put it away. So first of all, if you go back the years of this podcast, I have been theorizing that the Sixers wanted to move the arena to New Jersey for years and years and years, probably all the way back to the beginning. So, but just put that out there. I have been saying that. However, I think they would rather put it in Philadelphia. I don't think that the plan downtown is disingenuous. I think they actually want to do it. However, I do think if they don't get it, I think there is a significant chance they could move it to New Jersey. I don't think it's the biggest deal in the world. It's not actually much further. It's not further than anything, honestly. The driving is what it is. A lot of people are coming from Jersey anyway. But it's up to you whether you care about that.
The feeling is a bummer, though.
The feeling is a bummer to not have it be in Philadelphia. Absolutely. That would stink. But the reality of it, I don't know, whatever. Overall, they want a new arena because they own the team. They want their own arena. They don't want to pay rent to somebody else. They don't want to split an arena with anybody else.
Wells Fargo dropped the name, right?
What's that?
Wells Fargo dropped the name, right?
They did, but they don't own the arena. They just sponsored the arena. So I know Comcast Spectacor said they're willing to go 50-50 on a new arena. The Sixers don't want to go 50-50 on a new arena. They want their own arena. They're allowed to want their own arena for their own team and to make money. They're allowed to do that. And the city and the state are allowed to say, we will help you with it in this financial way or not help you with it in that financial way. It's all allowed to happen. By the way, Comcast Spectacor is allowed to not want competition for all of the concerts that come to town and so on and so forth. And they're allowed to publicly try to maneuver to make it better. Just a couple of notes. The stuff about revitalizing an area with an arena doesn't work. Like there are examples after example after example after example. It doesn't revitalize an area. If it did, you would
love to say it though.
They do. But like, if that were true, the area around the South Philly complex would be full of businesses.
Revitalized.
And it's not. So are there some examples where that has happened? Absolutely. Are there plenty of examples where it hasn't? Absolutely. Again, the reason they want the arena is because it will make them money and they'll get to have their own arena. The reason they want the arena isn't to make 12th and Market better, though it would be nice if it was.
The Philadelphia Revitalizers.
Right. The whole stuff about whether it's in Chinatown or not is the most disingenuous conversation I've ever heard. No, it's not officially in Chinatown, but yes, it's like a block away from Chinatown. So let's stop pretending like it wouldn't affect Chinatown one way or the other. Suggesting that traffic wouldn't be crazy and then parking will be easy is fucking insane. Of course it would be crazy. And of course parking would not be easy. I guess more people would take public transportation, but if you're coming from like fucking Glen Mills or Horsham or something, like loading your family of 4 into fucking regional rail to go downtown for a game seems unrealistic to me and less convenient. It is what it is. And then the idea of whether Philly can quote unquote support 2 arenas. I don't care. We obviously don't need 2 arenas. When was the last time there was a concert arena tour that didn't come to Philadelphia because there wasn't a place to put it? Never. But again, is having 2 of them kind of cool? Sure. I don't care. Fight over it. Figure it out. It'll be whatever it is. It's not going to revitalize an area. It's not going to ruin an area. It's just going to be a fucking arena that they have sports in and sometimes have concerts. That's it. That's my own opinion. So,
but they have to like kick people, like essentially evict people out of the area if they do build near Chinatown?
Not really. I mean, so essentially what they're doing is taking the what they call it now, the fashion district, the gallery, and just taking out everything that's in there. If you've been in, I know they've tried with that place a million different times. It's a disaster. Like there's nothing good there. They've been trying to put better condos in that area to try to make the area better, and it doesn't seem to work. I don't think, based on what I've seen, that people will be displaced. I think the debate is, okay, you put the arena there, the businesses that are there, is it good for the businesses or bad for the businesses? Like, you could make the argument either way. I think you could make the argument that if you owned a restaurant, it would be good, but then you could start to think about, well, if the game starts at 7 and people don't get there till 6:40 and it's impossible to get there earlier, I don't know who's eating dinner, right? And when you see the people who hang out afterwards to drink, well, that's a certain kind of crowd if you've ever been at Xfinity Live. So if that's not the crowd you want, then it seems like a detriment, like I
think usually it is a detriment to those businesses.
To those businesses. And if, to be quite honest, if there was a restaurant I liked in the area,
you wouldn't go to it on a game night.
Correct. Right. Now you could make the argument that, like, look, that area sucks anyway. If you've ever been at 12th or 13th and Market, it's terrible. Could this be better? Would it bring like more attention to the area? I guess it could. I wouldn't bet on it, but it is what it is. I don't really care that much.
Yeah, I mean, if people do have to get to this place, that would obviously suck for them. That would be
yes. I don't think that is
compensated for.
Yeah, I don't think that is what's happening. And if they did, they would have to buy that property from them, and hopefully they would have to hold that place up, and say, well, know. So
I mean, it would just be like if it's like who's renting from
right.
People that don't have the opportunity to do that. Would be obviously a trickier situation for that.
Good move from Jason, our friend Jason, who is going to open up his new bar. He says Keith's Wet Hand next to Xfinity Live.
That'd be the most successful bar in the city.
Yes, VR fish. We would put a live Ricky at Keith's Wet Hand if somebody opens up.
Absolutely, 100%. And you could see the logo. You can really see it.
Yeah. So, to go back to the Embiid Olympics discussion, AU had a couple of voicemails, and AU wrote an entire article that basically started off mad at, I think specifically me and both of us I think he was disappointed by you being on my team on this one. So, AU is very upset by the conversation around Embiid at the Olympics. And here is the beginning of his article. And essentially, it was mostly about the Phillies. He was basically saying that when the Phillies are bad, it makes it harder for him to not be insane about the Sixers.
It's completely fair. Somebody has to be good right now.
Yeah.
I was asking people yesterday about how you feel about the Eagles. I mean, like, which
people feel good about the Eagles, by the way.
People do feel good about the Eagles, but I mean, the Phillies are still in first place, and they're just playing. They're never going to win a game again at this point, which is really rough.
I mean, every home run last night against Tyler Phillips was like 600 feet. I've never seen home runs so far, all in one game. And
I don't want to talk to normals about like Embiid Olympic stuff. So I'm just like, let's go to the Eagles. Let's move there.
So AU led his article with the following, all numbered, by the way, which is again directly aimed at me. Number one, because my sense was if you stop reading social media, the Embiid stuff will mostly go away. And my reason for thinking that, and I think it is fair, and I pointed out to AU privately, there's not one article on ESPN.com about Embiid playing poorly in the Olympics. There's not one on The Ringer. We had not, until we did this, received one email or one voicemail about Embiid not playing well in the Olympics. Like, I think it is mostly a social media phenomenon. It doesn't mean it's not happening, but also those are the only people talking about it.
People talking about it on podcasts for sure.
Sure, but I guess they're in the same position we are.
Stemmed from the there being just conversation making fun of Embiid or making fun of Tatum for not playing, that kind of thing.
Right. So from AU, number one, me staying off Twitter is obviously both professionally and personally impossible.
This was originally just an email to you, and you just posted it.
No, it was not. It just came out as an article. So the way this works is AU writes the article, but the audio portion of it that he does, I sort of like spruce up, make sound a little better. So he sends it to me. So I see the article and hear the article before they go live. And I was like, you could have just texted me, but he didn't. So, okay. Number one, me staying off Twitter is obviously both professionally and personally impossible. This is not exactly true. Whether it's personally impossible for you, I guess you would know better than I. But professionally, trust me, you can monitor what's going on with the Sixers and pop music without doom scrolling Joel Embiid Olympic stuff. If I can, you can. Number two, I don't need Twitter to be absolutely insane about it. And it's a little insulting to suggest I do. I think you do, actually. I think you do. I think the only way that I would be personally disturbed by the Embiid stuff is if I saw him, and somebody brought this up, that they thought he looked like worse, physically worse. Now, he probably has not even played since the playoffs. And the last time we saw him, he looked pretty physically bad. So I would imagine he probably wouldn't look great. But I actually don't agree that he doesn't need Twitter to be absolutely insane about it. And I think it's interesting that he has not taken my AU get rid of Twitter for 2 weeks challenge to see if he feels any differently.
And it's so easy for him to do in August.
Yes.
This is the time to do it.
To do it. And number three, Embiid doing a bad both on and off the court in the Olympics is a real thing, not just a social media invention of bored and Lakers fans. But a real thing, I guess my point is a real thing that indicates what?
I think that people are, the spotlight is on him more as like a heel type figure, which it has obviously been in the past.
Sure.
But also a little bit more of like a fraudulent superstar.
Sure, but again, that's discussion, not like it's the conversation about it.
But that's all of it, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's all of it.
That's all some of it.
Whether or not someone writes an article about it or people talk about it, it doesn't make it's conversation that people are seeing when they watch these games and how Embiid is being used and how he fits into the team and stuff. And people are going like, well, if he doesn't look good in this setting, maybe he's not as good as we think he is, which obviously is wrong, but
it's just different. Carmelo Anthony was great in the Olympics. He didn't come back any different, anything changed. He just had a game that worked for the Olympics. Oh, and I forgot to mention, like, I do a sports radio show in Philadelphia every day for 4 hours, and we have not had one call about it. And we're in public at least once a week and haven't had one person come up to me about it. So, but we did get some funny voicemails about it. And if there was ever a voicemail that indicated the sickness of thinking about this stuff online, this is it. 833 Lickface.
Guys, following up on the Embiid Olympic discourse, I, like many of us, have been hate scrolling through so many just vile and gross Embiid comments about his Olympic performances and just even him just being on the Olympic team. Mike's advice that we should just log off, scroll past, I think is great sound advice, but a lot of us are just too plugged in. We're sickos. It's a brain chemistry issue. We're not going to be able to log off. All right, we're going to be doom scrolling till we die. So I say we should pivot. I think we should no longer let the Twitter finger, NBA, RNBA nerds that don't even watch full games, they just watch clips on YouTube. They shouldn't be allowed to frame the discussion on Joel Embiid. There's one video that I always see that pisses me off where it's the Embiid flop mixtape where it's about 40% flops and foul griffs, 60%. Just him hitting the deck because, you know, he's taught when he loses balance to just fall to mitigate any injuries. I say the Ricky faithful should each pick one basketball player they do not like, comb through years and years of game film to find any and every moment when that player falls on his butt, hits the deck in any way, shape, or form, compile it together. We should have flop mixtapes for every player we don't like in the NBA.
There you go. So the better response, instead of just not looking at it so much and taking it so seriously, is to win the online war against everyone by combing through basketball footage and creating mixtapes of other players' errors.
Go for it. Have at it. He started in this game he's playing right now. He's got 2 points and a rebound and assist early. Devin Booker 0 for 5 to start. Jason Tatum also started. 6 points in the first quarter.
He started the last game too.
United States down to Puerto Rico 25-17. I just don't care. I'm just not gonna. You can't bring me to care. And it's not that I'm like, oh, have a healthy mental position and log off and take and go breathe into like the sunset.
But I'm just saying, like, if it bothers you that much, it doesn't seem worth it to me.
Oh yeah, I'm saying to protect yourself, like sort of unfocus your eyes and or take your glasses off and like scroll very fast past something that you don't like before, so you can be distracted by something else.
Yes. Mute them. Mute anybody who's talking about Joel, mute them. So you never have to hear about him again. The Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast is presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Best thing.
Hey, Spike, Mike, CJ. This is.
Hold on. That was an error on my pen. That had nothing to do with DraftKings Sportsbook.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a button. I hit the wrong button. DraftKings Sportsbook. We are presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Only 2 days the whole year without a game. 2. So that means lots of time to bet, actually. I know you don't want to hear about this, but if I go to the futures for baseball at DraftKings Sportsbook, Philly's still second in World Series odds to the Dodgers, where they have been for a while. Dodgers are plus 340. Phillies are plus 500. Now, can you win the World Series if you never win another game again?
I think you could.
Yeah.
I'm not there yet, but give me another 2 weeks.
Calling them last year's Eagles?
We're closing. We're closing in on last year's Eagles territory.
Yep.
If they don't get out of it soon. If they get out of it soon, then that changes things. But like, this is not just a bad stretch. Like, this is beyond a bad stretch. This is a scary type of thing. Like, obviously baseball long season, but like this is more than that at this point. But if they get out of it in a couple of days, then we're okay. But
we were doing a show on Tuesday about the trade deadline, and it was after the 14-4 Yankees obliteration of us, and I said that game sort of felt like the Niners game. Like the we're not who we think we are game. Look, obviously they can't be this bad the rest of the year, but man, it is hard to watch right now. Dodgers at DraftKings Sportsbook plus 170 to win the National League. Phillies plus 260, and terrifyingly the Braves are next at plus 500. after all this, if Braves won the National League, I would be horrified.
That would hurt. Yeah, that would hurt.
That would hurt. That would absolutely hurt. But you can go in, you can bet the Phils, you can bet futures on the Eagles, you can bet on the summer. Am I allowed to say summer games? I can't say the O word, but summer games. Anyway, DraftKings Sportsbook.
The games of summer.
The games of summer. They make it easy. They make it simple. There's a lot of different options. You want to bet futures, you want to bet games, you do same game parlays, do it all. And if you're new to DraftKings Sportsbook, gotta check this out. Bet $5, get $150 in bonus bets instantly when you use code RTRS. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use code RTRS. And when you use code RTRS, you get $150 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5 only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem, got to be, call 1-800-GAMBLER, got to be 21. See show notes for details. There are two last quick things on the Olympics, one voicemail and one note. We had a Ricky listener win a gold medal.
Hell yeah.
Nick Mead, who was a Ricky listener, long ago when we had this podcast, was an Art of the Take devotee, and he won a gold medal in rowing. And he is a real Ricky guy, not just happens to be from Philadelphia. He is a real Ricky guy. So congratulations, Nick Mead, on your rowing gold medal. Fucking A. We should have him bring it to the next live Ricky.
I think so.
Have everyone be able to take a picture with the gold medal.
I think so.
Yeah, that'd be fucking awesome. So, and one more thing on the Olympics. We got an interesting voicemail about this. We had a call last week about a woman who thought that because there was so much sex in the Olympic Village, there should be a condom sponsorship in which the condoms are the 5 rings and the Olympic logo.
Which I liked.
Yes. So we got, where is it? We got this one, 833 Lickface.
Hey guys, this is a guy from Lancaster County. I actually work at Lancaster Archery Supply, and you were talking about the Olympic copyright and trademarks in the Olympics. The owner's daughter, Casey, is shooting in the Olympics. She's the number 1 ranked archer in the world. So if the Ricky family wants somebody to root for, women's recurve. But when it comes to the Olympic rings, anything Olympic related, it's insane what you cannot do. Casey can't even wear her Olympic gear, like her jacket, on a podcast or in an interview with media or anything unless it is Olympic media. And this goes for a large time period around the Olympics, and then a lot of the rules all the time. So our own person is shooting in the Olympics, and we can't even mention on our website, hey, here is Casey, she's shooting in the Olympics. We have to post stuff like support USA for just no apparent reason. So if we mention anything, they will come after you with everything they have. They will take everything you have. The fines are massive. If anyone is interested and wants to get in the weeds, it's called Rule 40. But we literally have someone with us that's shooting in the Olympics, and we can't even mention the Olympics.
So
I'm undeterred.
Yeah. You still want the condoms.
I think so. Oh, like I couldn't have a colorful hula hoops that look like the Olympic rings. Are you kidding?
It's fair.
I get around it.
It's fair.
It's fair.
So
in the name of safe sex.
This is a big one. We did get a couple of tweets about it, but I thought this email was the best way to approach it. Mike told a story in the last Ricky about a basketball game and an argument with a ref when somebody...
It was just like a few comments of confusion.
Okay.
Like, how is this possible?
Somebody shot an air ball, caught their own air ball. Mike assumed that this person couldn't. And by the way, I'm not clear on this either, even though I wasn't there. I said, yes, of course that's a walk. I've always played as if that's a walk. In a pickup game, I would have played as if that's a walk.
Yep.
So this comes from Rick. Hi, gents. Basketball question. Is Mike all wet on his latest ref beef? My recollection was that the NBA was one of the only leagues that explicitly prohibited catching your own air balls. It could depend on what rule structure his rec league adheres to, but it seems like Mike may owe that gentleman an apology. Yahoo reports in a 2015 article, in all levels of basketball besides the NBA, a player can be the first to touch his own air ball as long as referees rule it a legitimate shot attempt. Per FIBA, it is Rule 24.2. A player shall not dribble for a second time after his or first dribble has ended unless between the two dribbles he/she has lost control of a live ball because of A, a shot for a goal, B, a touch of the ball by an opponent, or C, a pass or fumble that has been touched by another player. So it seems as if you're wrong.
many people have reached out to me about this.
Yes.
Many fucking refs in my DMs.
Yes.
And they're all saying like, if a ref deems it a illegal shot, and just when you read like basketball rules or any rules, and all of a sudden it becomes like ref talk. It's just I just like glaze over. Yeah, I watch mostly NBA basketball. I think that rule should apply across the board. I've had another ref in my DM saying that is technically the rule, but I call it the other way because I think it's bullshit. And
you're pushing back here.
A little pushing back. I do think that the NBA rule is the better one. If you shoot it and you don't hit rim, you shouldn't. A ref can't see the mind of a player and be like, that was an attempted shot, not a half-assed shot that he could go just like take his own miss. I think that's wrong. But yes, technically, because my league was not the NBA or WNBA, that I should apologize to the fucking freak refs who are bad people and shouldn't be around polite society. Sure. Apology.
Wow. Regretfully. Non-basketball question. What is the worst flavor you've ever experienced? I've accidentally tasted gasoline, and that's probably the closest I've had to Malort. Do you have a worst flavor? I mean, I think it's vomit.
That's not a great one.
Yeah. I hate tasting vomit.
Yeah, I don't have one off the top of my head, but
Yeah.
I
taste
remember
poop?
really not liking medicine. A couple of different kinds of medicine.
Yeah,
my dad was trying. My dad trying to get me to like shoot the medicine as like a 5-year-old or something.
Yes, as a little kid.
Yeah.
And he says, P.S. I'm a Bucks fan, but our podcasts all suck, and I've listened to Rights Ricky Sanchez since you interviewed Frank Madden after the 2021 title run.
Oh, Frank.
So thank you. I'm now a fervent Maxey fan and a watcher of Gabe Vincent box scores.
Yeah, the Gabe Vincent Dame Lillard tracker. We're approaching year 2 of that. So
yep.
we're close.
Now, final thing, this may be one of the best ideas we've received in voicemail, and it is about you playing basketball. So it feels like it fits right here. To 833 Lickface.
What I need you guys to do is send Ahmed and Dan to LA to scout Mike in a game. And I want a real report on him as if he was a high school prospect, like a full report on his strengths, his weaknesses. We deserve this as members of the Ricky community. Thank you.
Wow.
Would you allow this?
Well, it would have to be like, obviously I'm not a high school prospect. So if they graded me on the scale of.
No, they have to grade you on the scale of normal basketball player. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I may or may not have already emailed them asking them if they're interested. I just think for the draft council, what a crossover episode.
Wow.
To have them scouting you, which, who will never be drafted. Well, probably not.
I'm still eligible. You don't know that.
Yeah. Again, probably.
If Daryl sent me a cap space jersey, I think if there ends up being like a 3rd round of the draft at some point, him and like a publicity stunt drafting me.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty good.
That would be great. After they win a championship, might as well, you know, if
even just beat one drafted, why can't beloved local podcaster get drafted? Yeah,
what a great story that would be. You kidding me? It'd be incredible. So we were discussing on the last pod, you had mentioned to Daryl and then reiterated in the last pod that the Sixers have the most pressure on them in pro sports to make a playoff run. And we're bouncing around that, and we got a thoughtful email from Ryan, who came up with a list. I'm going to propose the team to you, and you tell me Sixers more or less pressure than them.
Okay.
Ryan says,
keep in mind, hockey doesn't count for me as someone who doesn't know anything about it.
Okay. Well, I got to bring it up because he does have it on there. But Ryan says, here's a ranking of a few teams that I think have the most pressure to win in sports. Let me know if I missed any, but I don't think there are that many with that much pressure to win in the NBA and Major League Baseball. To be clear, he did not mention the Bills or the Ravens, and I think the Ravens is less about the Ravens and more about Lamar Jackson, so I would not put the Ravens as an organization pressure-wise. I do think there's still a lot of pressure on the Bills, even though they probably will not have the same preseason expectations that they normally have.
And the Ravens at least won a Super Bowl like 12 years ago
and
have been to the conference championship many times
in
the last 15 years.
Yep. So number one, and I know you said hockey doesn't count, but he does give good context. The Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yeah, I know the Canadian stuff that they haven't won.
Yes.
They haven't won in forever. So I will submit to someone else's logic on that point.
Yeah, he says biggest city in Canada, and they play the country's main sport. Haven't won since 1967. No Canadian team has won since 1993, which is very embarrassing for Canada, to be quite honest. Have made the playoffs every year since 2017 and have a stacked team with a top star, can hardly make the second round, let alone a conference championship, have lost repeatedly in embarrassing fashion. Their team is going to be hard to keep together over the next few years. So I would agree. He has the Sixers as number 2.
Okay.
Number 3, the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
Every year they're a preseason media favorite, and every year they disappoint. They have a national fan base, and yet most of their fans have not been alive long enough to see them win. They've constructed talented teams with 2 different quarterbacks over almost 3 decades and still come up short.
Yes, I agree with that. And we mentioned Dallas as when we talked about this originally. It's just football is so much more random in one game, winner take all type of situations, that so many things can go wrong and you go like, oh, you got unlucky. For the Sixers in the NBA, when almost always the better team does win in the playoffs over the course of a 5-7 game series.
Yeah.
It is unheard of for the Sixers to have not advanced past the second round in that much time with a player as good as of an MVP candidate as Joel.
Yes, I would agree.
So I think football just inherently has a little bit more like bad bounces kind of thing than the NBA does.
Well, I also think the Cowboys thing has gone on so long that it's almost just sort of like a joke now, in that I wouldn't say the Sixers aren't a laughing stock, but I almost think this era of Sixers seems to be separate from every other era, whereas the Cowboys stuff seems to be all connected. Does that make sense? Like, I think that the Cowboys era, the Cowboys pressure is like 30 years long, where I know it's been 40 years since the Sixers won a title, but it feels like this 11 years is a separate thing.
For sure. Just since it really is since the process, the stakes of this, like at the time, and how it's talked about, this grand experiment, which is now just sort of how every team does it.
Yep.
In the NBA. And like the Sixers did it in a pretty bland way, honestly. But because of the furor around it on the pro and con side, I think it was like it's become, and Joel being the face of it and changing his nickname to the process, like that it is an indictment on it if it doesn't work, and everything comes down to it. If for Joel, for the process, for us, like if they don't succeed, it will be like condemned as a failure.
The next one, who I actually had not thought of the next one, but it's interesting. 49ers. They have not won since 1995. Their fans and team talks a lot of smack, but keeps choking leads in the Super Bowl. They have a talented team, but as soon as Purdy gets paid, it'll be hard to keep them all together.
Niners close, but also made the conference championship.
Yeah, so you defined as pressure to make a run, whereas the 49ers, it is pressure to win a championship.
Right.
I think the same with the Maple Leafs. So Cowboys, I think you could put in the same category, as they have not made a quote run.
Right. 49ers the Niners have been to the conference championship in 4 out of the last 5 years, to the Super Bowl in 2 of those years. Like they have to get over that hump, but that hump is at least more respectable than the lesser hump that the Sixers have not been able to pass. Which,
by the way, is defined as not even beating one good team in the playoffs.
Not even being a single good team in the playoffs.
Not one.
The closest one, again, is a 1-game playoff against the Miami Heat where Nick Batum went off.
Yeah. And by the way, that Miami Heat team was the 8 seed and got lost in the first round. So, all right, there's a couple more teams we want to get to, but right after we talk about Kornblau and Kornblau, official law firm of the process. Mike, I saw Kornblau at work. He came to a WIP event on Tuesday in Horsham, very close to his office, and brought his brother. Saw one of the other Kornblaus. His brother's not a lawyer. His brother owns a fucking Golden Corral.
Wow.
So this family is involved in law and buffets.
Corralling.
What a family. Anyway, Kornblau couldn't stay long. He's got to go fucking work for his clients. That's what he does. The premier personal injury law firm, boutique personal injury law. They like me to say boutique, but I think they are the premier personal injury law firm in Southeastern PA. They're going to give you the kind of attention you deserve, but also they're going to fight for you. They're going to give your case that kind of attention and going to keep you in the loop and explain to you every step of the way. Personal injury lawsuits can take a long time, be very complicated. That's why you need somebody who is the fucking man, like Kornblau. And also, you see these other personal injury law firms advertised. You see billboards, hear commercials, see commercials, whatever. And you'll see a little thing, can't practice law in your state. What the fuck are they doing? Well, they're really only referral places. Whereas Kornblau and Kornblau, you're going to get a Kornblau. Some of the best medical malpractice results in all of Southeastern PA, offices all over the Delaware Valley. If you don't want to show up, that's fine. He can come to you, house call, whether it's medical malpractice, injured at work, slip and fall, car accident, anything. If you've been injured, you think somebody else is in the wrong, Kornblau is the only one you can reach out to. And if you need a buffet, is his brother. 215-576-7200. Ask for Adam. You're going to get him. Or email Kornblau at kornblauandkornblau.com. The and is spelled out in there. Kornblau is spelled Kornblau. Kornblau and Kornblau, the official law firm of the process. All right. Number 5, the Oilers. They have a player in the GOAT conversation, another 5 to 10 current player. Those 2 players are also approaching free agency, but they just made the finals. So not on pressure to make a run. Pressure to win a championship, maybe. Great jerseys, by the way. Also Maple Leafs, great jerseys. Number 6, the Knicks. I sort of agree here. It's been a very long time since they made a run. By the way, longer than the Sixers. They haven't made a run since the 90s, the New York Knicks. They have a ton of offseason praise. They're in the biggest market in the country, and they have their payroll is at a sort of a precarious position in that it will be tough to. They can't really add like big name players, so this sort of is what it is. I think there's been a lot of praise for the Knicks over the last couple of years, but if they don't do anything this year, if they don't get past the second round, I don't know. I think they may be 1 year away from where the Sixers are, but I think there is a lot of pressure on the Knicks, actually.
I think it's way more than 1 year. I mean, the Knicks have at least beaten a good team in the playoffs in the Philadelphia 76ers this past year. So, and the fact that Mikal just came, the feelings are so positive. Like, obviously the Knicks fans wanted to beat the Pacers, and just injuries got to them, and Tibbs playing everyone 47 minutes a night got to them and stuff. But the Sixers never had that year of good feeling because Embiid got hurt. This is the Embiid and Simmons first year together. Embiid gets hurt. The Sixers win their last 16 games, and then they play the Celtics in the second round, and they lose in 5 games. It was a close 5 games, as we can talk about on this podcast. There were a couple moments that should have gone different ways, and it was definitely a wake-up call for Joel and him failing against Horford and Baines and stuff. But they immediately lost to the Celtics in 5 games, and the vibe was low.
Yeah.
And we were worried about, on the Covington live pod at Xfinity Live, people booing because of how bad that it went. And so,
by the way, they didn't. We want to give credit to them.
It was great.
Yeah.
No, it was totally. It was a wonderful night. But we never had that. Okay, we lost in the playoffs, but now we're a force to be reckoned with type of thing. It was so they got so good so quick, and all of a sudden was maybe the year is right now,
right? And
it didn't happen in sort of a fall flat in your face type of way against the Celtics. That we never had that good feeling moment. So if the Knicks are right there, that the Sixers didn't get to have, even though the cap is high and everything, and they're tied to guys that are not as young as the Sixers were at that point, I still think, considering that was 6-7 years ago for the Sixers, the Knicks have more time to fail than the Sixers have. I think that if the Knicks don't get to the conference finals in the next 2 or 3, say 3 years, then you can go okay, yeah, this has been. The pressure's on. This has been a failure on what was expected, but I think the Sixers are so far past that that nobody in the Knicks is talking about like if they lose, like we're trading Brunson kind of thing. Which
Right.
has been talked about.
That's a good point.
Embiid for a long time.
And number 7's the Mets, which is a good one. They have spent a lot of money. They have an owner who spends a lot of money. They are in a big city. Their fans are very agitated and very Sixers-like. I would say, having lived in or worked in New York for almost 3 years, Mets fans and Jets fans are more similar to Philadelphia fans than like, Giants fans and Yankees fans or whatever. Mets fans go from 0 to 60 back to 0 very quickly, like Philadelphia. Though I just don't think nationally anyone cares about whether the Mets make a run or not. So I think the Mets could be on the list, but I don't think they're even close to the Sixers, to be honest with you.
I mean, they did get to a World Series within the last 10 years. As far as a recently historically feudal franchise in a pretty fun way for Phillies fans.
Be careful.
I mean, I'm sure the Knicks fans have enjoyed the Sixers' futility quite a bit as well.
Yeah.
So I do. I feel a kinship with Sixers and Mets together, but I do think that because the Mets have just like failed in spectacular ways, and have not gotten the fact that the Sixers have gotten to the same place each time. It's like it feels Sisyphean,
I think,
to like continue to do every offseason and be like, is it this one? We get to the first or second round against a decent team and they get them a little bit and then they got it. And it's like every year we do the same thing. And now it's like, okay, finally, Daryl has Tobias off the books. He's got a young budding superstar in Tyrese Maxey. Embiid is playing in the Olympics. Paul George walked into the cap space. Daryl has picks to trade. He got a bunch of Rockets. Eric Gordon is finally here. Kyle Lowry is still here. Like, it's like, this is all happening. And for the process, and for Daryl, and for Joel, and for us, and for Paul George, who we obviously are not very close with at the moment, but maybe as we spend more time together with him and develop some traumas with him, maybe that becomes his previous failures become something that we also internalize. It's just all of it is building to it has to happen this year or next year. It has to happen. And if they don't win a championship, that's one thing. But if they don't even make actual legitimate noise beyond, I think they would have beaten the Raptors in overtime if that Kawhi shot didn't go in. If that's as close as we get, then man, this will have been such a waste of time.
Yeah. I mean, it won't be great. It won't be a great result.
And I just feel like you can't say that about any other team. The hockey teams, I don't know, obviously. But like, I don't think you can say that about any other team. Maybe like Dak and Dallas.
Yeah, I think. But like, they've had a lot of talent there.
Yeah,
a lot.
Yeah, that's fair. But they've at least. Yeah, I think Dallas is there, but I would just put the edge on football is weird, has weirder bounces consistently. Obviously, the Sixers have been victims to a couple bizarre bounces themselves, but overall, the Sixers have not been unlucky on court in why they didn't make a run. They just have not. Obviously, they have been in some ways unlucky on the court, but also the reason why they have failed is because of their own failures. Like they have failed because they weren't good enough. They have failed because like guys didn't deliver, bad coaching or personnel decisions. Embiid playing at a way worse level in the playoffs than he has in every regular season, partially because of injury, like all that stuff. So I think Dallas the Cowboys have gotten some weird moments, and obviously like Zeke Elliott playing center in the last play of the season was a great one. But like, I just feel like basketball, the better team almost always wins, and the Sixers have never been the better team, and that's crazy.
Pretty depressing
after all this time.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah.
Now that you say it like that.
Yeah.
The Cooler comment of the pod. Cooler is a new podcast app that only Ricky listeners have access to. It is in beta. We are trying it out. You can comment on each pod, argue with each other, get points for listening, all that kind of stuff that people love on the internet. This one and if you would like to be part of the beta, go to cooler.fm. When you download it, use code LickFace to actually get the app. That's cooler.fm, LickFace. So this one came from Jimmy, whose username is Tulo. While the fit of the squad feels right, I genuinely don't know who's going to inbound the ball in a tough situation. It is a really good question. The best passer on the team is Kyle Lowry.
Yeah, could be Lowry.
But he's only 6 feet tall.
Probably Paul George. Does a little inbounding.
Yeah.
Maybe gets it to Embiid, gets dribble handoff back. But yeah, that's definitely a weakness. Yeah. Daryl mentioned rebounding on the podcast, but I think that kind of, I mean, Caleb Martin is a good connector type. And I could see him being an inbounder. But as far as like top to bottom of the roster, like just high IQ passers are something that this team is lacking.
The Batum thing. I mean, we finally saw one of those and we were like, and to not have him anymore. The hard to stomach YouTube comment of the week comes from St. Christian. He says, Mike getting a black eye because of help defense is comical. Practice what you preach, Mike. Stick to your man.
Yeah, I would say the guys I play pickup with are not as good shooters as NBA players. Okay. So if somebody is getting beat, I'm gonna rotate down and help.
I thought this one was good.
I appreciate the comment. It's a very fair comment.
It's fair. We have one voicemail, one email, then we'll get out of here. 833 Lickface is the.
Hey guys, first time, long time. So I'm Camden from DC, and I'm actually from Cameroon, like Joel Embiid. So pardon my accent, and excuse my French. I know you guys have pretty much the general manager phone number. So please give him a call. Give Daryl a call and tell him that please he needs to call Utah management. I know we don't like them. I know we have a past history with them, and we don't like them. But just please tell him to give them a call, trading Lauri Markkanen until mid-season, because we can get him. He's making about $18 million, and right now he's still like $5 million below the second apron. So we can just sign another player for $5 million to have that trade asset. Now, on the top of that $5 million, you add like Jared McCann and KJ Martin. You have about $18 million. That's enough for Markkanen, because we are still able to aggregate salary since we're still under the second apron. All we need to do is add like few first-round picks, because they love those picks at Utah. We just give them like maybe 2-3 picks, first-rounder, maybe 1 or 2 second-rounder, or maybe a pick trade or something. And I know for sure they will take it. But, of course, we will have to let them know that please don't trade for him. He doesn't even have to re-sign. Just tell him. We don't care if he doesn't re-sign. We just need him for a year, and we will make it. Think about it. You have Lauri Markkanen, you have Embiid, you have Paul George, and you have Maxey. Give me those 4 players on any team. I don't care who play the power forward. PJ Tucker can come back for the minimum. I actually can play the power forward. That team will win anything. So please, guys, tell him to make this happen. Lauri Markkanen is not out of reach. I know you guys mentioned something about him being out of reach. He's not out of reach. We can still get him. And one more thing, non-basketball.
It cut off. He cut off.
Damn.
Now, first of all, that's the only other person I've heard with a Cameroonian accent aside Embiid. It's interesting. You can hear the French in it a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, it's an interesting accent. Him telling us to tell Daryl to do it because we have his phone number, and as if Daryl did not know Lauri Markkanen might be available is...
Yeah. So the Markkanen thing is interesting because today we're recording this on August 3rd.
They can extend him, right?
On August 6th.
Yep.
Markkanen becomes eligible to renegotiate and extend.
Yeah.
But if he does do that, he is then ineligible for a trade for 6 months.
A year. Well,
6 months from August 6th is February 6th, which is the trade deadline.
Got it.
So if he waits one more day to sign, if he decides, I want to stay in Utah, I don't want to be traded to wherever is the best offer for Danny Ainge to take. If I want to stay in Utah, I will wait until August 7th to sign. So that is essentially him giving himself a no trade clause for the year. Also,
the interesting thing would be, just to add on top of that, is that I don't know if it's likely, but it is possible that with the extension, Utah gives him a renegotiated higher salary this year to give him less as time goes on, which would make it more difficult for the Sixers to obtain him this year if they made his salary $35 million this year instead of 18.
Pretty much impossible. Yeah.
Yeah. So but
it
what
seems
about
like, and this was on I guess Tim McMahon and Zach Lowe were talking about it, but it seems like Markkanen does want to stay in Utah, but I wouldn't be surprised if there was some Daryl communication happening over the next couple of days in Utah, or if they think it's already beyond reach, if he's just going to stay and sign there.
Yeah, I still wonder why somebody wouldn't just make an offer better than the Sixers would make for Markkanen, who has those sort of assets. Now, Oklahoma City wouldn't really need a player like Markkanen, though he would be good. Yeah. New Orleans, it seems like, would be a great fit for Markkanen, to be honest with you. San Antonio would be a cool fit for Markkanen, who could outbid us. So what would your thought be, if we say this, about adding a piece that significant near the trade deadline? Because he is you don't have to make him the number one option, but he obviously isn't just like a plug and play 3-and-D wing, one of those guys. I almost would make me nervous adding a player that significant at the deadline, especially if you don't know if you're going to keep him beyond this year.
So in this world, well, I mean, I don't think Markkanen is going to play this a full season under his current expiring contract.
Right.
So I think he is going to sign, whether he signs on August 6th, so he's eligible to be traded at the deadline, or if he signs August 7th and he's not, I think he's going to get his money. He's going to get his years. So let's say this is a world where he signs August 6th. He goes, if you guys want to trade me, maybe there's a way for him to sign August 6th, but he has to have sign off on the trade or something. I don't know. August 6th signs, doesn't affect what he's making this year. So he is more trade eligible for the Sixers. I do think probably other teams could beat it. It would require Lauri to go, I want to play in Philadelphia, trade me there. And if they want to do right by him, the 3-4 picks they can offer plus McCain, KJ Martin for salary, that kind of thing, would have to be enough to get Utah interested.
Yeah.
But they could also just hold on to him. They don't have to move him.
He's 27. He's really good.
And it's not like Utah has another young up and coming star or something like that. They're sort of, they got a bunch of interesting pieces that I like. I like Keontae George a lot. But it's just what really are they doing if they're going to trade their best player? I mean, right now they could. The argument to do it. The argument to do it now is Utah could truly tank and put themselves in a good position to get one of the many good players, Cooper Flagg or VJ Edgecombe, like a lot of guys that are very good in this coming draft. And because the West is going to be so good, really it's only them and Portland, who's also another weird team in a weird position, that could be very, very bad this season in the West. So if they want to be the worst team in the West, so they have a really good shot at getting one of those top 4 picks, then trading Markkanen and selling earlier rather than later might be the way to do it, rather than going into the season being on pace for a 36-win season, and then at the deadline going, fuck, let's trade him now.
Right.
And then having to, it's kind of, to me, it's a little bit embarrassing for your players to go stop playing.
Right.
And they feel like they've done that for 2 seasons in a row.
Yeah.
Of we're decent, but we'd rather to get the picks. And to do that again, I think, I don't know, why wouldn't you just do it at the beginning of the season?
Yep.
So I'm not sure, but I do hear what you're saying as far as, yes, other teams probably could, if they wanted, beat the Sixers offer from Markkanen.
Let's leave the email for next time, as we have several weeks left of
August
off season. And actually, we are leaving. My wife and I are leaving to go to the animal shelter to officially adopt our foster, Scotchy. She has been in the house for 9 weeks. She's our fourth foster that we've had. I have privately cried every time one of the fosters have left because I cannot handle it emotionally. So Rebel likes this one, so we're going to keep her.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Good for you guys. Embiid had bounced back, had a better half, had a little run towards the end of the second half.
Oh, there we go.
USA up 19 on Puerto Rico.
There we go. There you go. Are you okay, AU? I know he's fucking seething right now, too. We're laughing, and he's fucking seething. So I love you, AU. All right. We will talk to you next time. Are you down with TTP?
Yeah. Like face.